Good morning. Welcome to our first quarterly luncheon of 2023. I love seeing all the networking. If everyone will please turn your phones to silent for me. Feel free to take pictures. We want you to share those. Quotes, comments, anything on social media. Please tag us in those. It's hashtag Southaven Chamber. I'm about to throw a monkey wrench in everybody's networking. I'm sorry. Last week, we lost a great member of the DeSoto County business community and a longtime chamber member, Jeff Muse. Jeff owned Muse Heating and Air, and he was a strong supporter of the chamber. He will be missed. At this time, I would like for us to have a moment of silence. Can we please have a moment of silence in honor of Jeff Muse? Thank you. Now please welcome Chaplain Steve Edmonds with Baptist Memorial Hospital DeSoto. He's going to lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, and then remain standing for the national anthem.
Good afternoon. It's an honor to be here today. Will you join me in a word of prayer? Merciful God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, this is the day that you've made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. We thank you for all those gathered here today in this room and for the businesses and families they represent. We ask that you would let your spirit of fellowship, love, and encouragement be among us today. Thank you for providing for our daily needs, for food, for shelter, meaningful work to do. Help us always to seek to outdo one another in showing kindness, compassion, and love. Help us to continually seek opportunities for sacrificial service with humble hearts. And may we look not only to our needs, but to the needs of others, especially those who are hungry, homeless, outcast, afraid, sick and suffering, lost and lonely. God, you are the giver of life, and because you have breathed the breath of life into us, we are alive to serve you with all of our heart, all of our soul, and all of our mind, and all of our strength. Let your spirit fill us today to overflowing, so we can take that love that you have for us, multiply it, and give it away for your honor, for your glory. In the name of Jesus Christ, who laid down his life for us out of his sacrificial love for us, we pray. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I am not singing. I would like to introduce Lacey Livingston. She's with North Point, and she will be delivering the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Thank you, Lacey. That was awesome. We're excited to have you all here, and we kind of turned things around a little bit, so this is not our usual layout for luncheon. It was once upon a time, but it hasn't been for a while. If you passed out all your business cards, you brought or forgot to bring them, take out your phone and download the Follow app. It is free. You can enter your information and exchange information with different ones. So we would love for you to utilize that. We have partnered with the Southaven Police Department, City of Southaven, Landers Center, DeSoto Times-Tribune, and Hernando Chamber of Commerce to offer a free active shooter class. It's going to be right here at Landers Center. Thank you for sponsoring that, Landers. March 23rd at 8 a.m. You can visit our website to register. If you have any questions about it, reach out to us. Our 2023 magazines are out. They are at our table. Please be sure to drop by and pick one up. I would like to, at this time, recognize our dignitaries and representatives, special guest. City of Southaven Mayor Darren Musselwhite is with us. Thank you, Mayor, for being here. Alderman George Payne, City of Southaven, is here. Alderman William Jerome, City of Southaven, is here. I haven't seen Alderman Hoots. Alderman Charlie Hoots is supposed to be here, and Alderman Joel Gallagher. Thank you, Representative Walt Starr and Adam Grubbs from Congressman Trent Kelly's office for being here. Thank you to our Southaven Police Department for being here. We appreciate them. We're happy to have Jerry Hill from DeSoto County Schools. We are happy to have DeSoto County Board of Supervisors Lee Caldwell, Mark Gardner, Ray Dennison, and Michael Lee with us. Thank you to DeSoto County Election Commissioner Chad Engelke for being here with us. Horn Lake Chamber of Commerce is with us today. Jeannie and Betty are here. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you. Susan Fernandez, I have not hugged her, but I saw her here with DeSoto County Economic Development Council. Thank you for being here, Susan. I would like to thank our board of directors. We have a great board of directors. Jeff King is our president. He's with True Medical Testing. April Armstrong with Chick-fil-A Southaven is our past president. Dr. Stephen Joe is on our executive committee. He and some of his staff are here. Thank you, Dr. Joe. Gina Wigington, Matthew Kelso, Diego Luega, Ryan England, Elizabeth Irvin are also board of directors. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you to our Southaven Chamber ambassadors and our officers and members of our Southaven Young Professionals Group, as well as our Southaven Human Resource Association. I have to thank the team. This would not be possible without them. Thank you to Rachel O'Halloran, Marketing Manager, Kristen Engelke, our Event Coordinator, Sierra Henley is our Director of First Impressions, and Chantel Hibbler is our Member Services Coordinator. Aaron Kozort with Wisdom Integrators and Courtney Pinkston with FTN Creative are always here and make us look good. Thank you guys so much. I've got to grab my paper for the artist. I'm sorry, guys. If you'll notice, we have some art sitting around from Southaven Arts Council. I had to grab my artist bio. Helen Argo is the artist. Helen's art reflects the joy she sees in all life forms. She's excited about art and loves working in oil and acrylic, but she's very versed in other mediums. She's known for her use of texture and collages and has created murals in children's facilities, middle school, and home settings. Her work has been recognized and shown in local competitions. She's part of the collections in Baptist Cancer Institute, St. Francis Hospital, Cadence Bank in Jackson, Tennessee First Trust Bank in Memphis, and in the calendar commemorating the dedication of the cancer wing of Baptist DeSoto as well in numerous private collections. She's a Platinum Star artist with the Memphis Germantown Art League, and she holds membership also in DeSoto Arts Council and Sycamore Arts Council. Can we give it up for our local artists? She was unable to be with us today. And now, join me in welcoming Brian Hogan, CEO of Baptist Memorial Hospital DeSoto, to the stage. He's going to share more about our award-winning hospital.
First, I'd like to thank Debbie and the Southaven Chamber for letting Baptist be a part of the presentation today. We're really glad to be here, and we brought two of our best, most engaging, entertaining doctors to tell you a few things. February is Heart Month, so lots of our Baptist team are wearing red to celebrate Heart Month. Quickly, just a little bit about Baptist DeSoto. We opened in 1988, so we've been open for 35 years in Southaven. We have undergone many expansions in the last 35 years. We're part of the Baptist healthcare system, which is headquartered in Memphis, but there are 22 Baptist hospitals in Tennessee, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Baptist DeSoto is the third largest of the 22 Baptist hospitals. We employ approximately 1,900 employees, which makes us one of the largest employers in Northwest Mississippi. A lot of people don't know, it's a fun fact for you, in the whole Memphis metro area, there are about 8 or 9 emergency departments, and Baptist DeSoto is the busiest or second busiest, depending on the month and the year, emergency department in the whole Memphis metro area. We see about 60 to 70,000 emergency visits each year at DeSoto. So a couple of new developments and things that I want to make sure you're updated about. In the fall last year, we opened up a brand new freestanding cancer center. It's not part of the hospital, it's right across the street. It's a beautiful new building. We have just about every cancer specialty and treatment that you can think of. So please remember Baptist Cancer if you should have that unfortunate thing happen to you or any of your family. And last year we were awarded the Joint Commission Primary Stroke Certification for Excellence in Stroke Care. We're also have very busy obstetrics services, which is having babies. But a couple of things set us apart there. We have 24/7 in-house OBGYNs for any of your emergent needs. A lot of hospitals don't have an OBGYN in the hospital 24/7. And we also have an OB emergency department. So please keep that in mind. And then, since it's Heart Month, we have lots of special certifications and awards for our cardiac care. but the latest is the American College of Cardiology and their data registry recently named Baptist DeSoto as the top performing hospital in the state of Mississippi for cardiac care. So that's thank you. That's something we're very proud of, is the cardiac care, which is going to be the focus of the presentation from our doctors today. Look, I got to give a PSA before I get out of here. Healthcare is hard. Healthcare is very rewarding. Healthcare is stable. Healthcare pays really good lately. So if you have kids, nieces, nephews, yourself, anybody you know, encourage them to be nurses or radiology techs or respiratory therapists or something that takes care of people and makes their lives better. Okay, there are things that happen every day that make it rewarding for healthcare workers because we impact. I mean, if you look at inpatients, ED, outpatient testing, we see at least 1,000 people every day at Baptist DeSoto that we get to impact. So the latest studies, just as an example, the latest studies show that the state of Mississippi alone is about 3,500 nurses short for what we need to take care of the population of Mississippi, okay? So that's my PSA today. Tell everybody you know to go into healthcare. So I do want to introduce our two physician speakers today. Dr. Daniel Poor is going to be the first to speak. Dr. Poor is our medical director for our very busy emergency department. Dr. Daniel Poor is a local boy. He was born and raised in the Memphis area. Dr. Poor trained at St. Joseph's Regional Medical Center in Paterson, New Jersey, which is one of the top 5 busiest emergency departments in the whole United States. He was the chief resident there. Dr. Poor is a very visionary, strategic thinker. He's just been with us for about 6 months at Baptist DeSoto, but he's got lots of different ideas that we're going to operationalize to make our flow and our experience better at Baptist DeSoto. He's been brilliant since he's been on with us. And then Dr. Ari Shakovsky is with Stern Cardiovascular Center. He is the director of all of our cardiovascular services at Baptist DeSoto. He is the head of the Baptist Heart Institute, which is at Baptist Memphis. He's one of the leaders of the Stern Cardiovascular Group, which is one of the oldest and highest reputable cardiac groups in the whole Mid-South area. Dr. Ari is from the Bronx. He went to medical school at Cornell and trained at Columbia University, New York Presbyterian Hospital. But he's been in the South a long time, so he considers himself Southern now. But these guys not only are highly trained, brilliant, and I'm proud to be affiliated with them at Baptist DeSoto's, but they're great guys as well. So Dr. Poor, you're going to go first, please.
Thank you guys for having me. This is a good group. I'm louder than the mic. I didn't need to train at Cornell, man. I used to do cardiac stem cell work at Cornell, pre-med, so we got more to talk about. We have so much in common. I'm Dr. Poor. I'm a local guy. I was born at Baptist. Anybody else here born at Baptist? Yeah, okay. So I'm biased. Since I took over the ER, we are kind of changing the face of the emergency department. We're a busy shop. I get bored easy. I work a lot, so when I get done with this, I'm literally going to shift. Right now, I can tell you that our full-time guys are all ER board certified or fellowship trained in emergency medicine. I got a lot of new graduates coming out at UMMC and UT. They're starting this year as well. We're all boarded and emergency medicine trained. And the beauty of being an emergency medicine doctor, and I tell the med students and the residents all the time because I'm faculty at the schools, is we do everything, right? So I deliver babies, and I take care of you. I do your first breath to your last breath. And everything that can happen to you in between, I'm either trained to handle or identify and call an adult, like already to come out and do the actual other stuff. And I tell the med students, they're like, what do you mean call an adult? And I'm like, well, there's things that I don't do, but I can tell that they need something else done. So I call the adult and get it done. We save lives every day. And not many jobs you can say you go home and say your wife asks you how your day was. I'm like, I saved a life today. And that's what we do. That's what we do every day in our department. I'm proud to say that we're a beautiful, it's a luscious department. It's a beautiful emergency department. Let's see, let's get going. We're talking about heart attacks today. Don't have one. Just don't have one. Like, prevent it, right? Make good life choices, eat good meals, get your exercise, go to church on Sundays, read the Bible with your grandmother. Don't have a heart attack. It happens all the time. It's best if they happen on my watch when I'm watching you versus at home and you're like, man, I really think that Chinese food is, I'm going to go take some more Pepsi. No. If you don't feel right, just come see me, right? Just come see me. I'm happy to see all of you. I'll just smell me smiling faces. Come in there to the emergency room, we'll take care of you. Lifestyle choices is one of the biggest indicators. There's risk factors, right? So we're all going into those risk factors. I'm getting closer to those risk factors. I'm like a white bald guy, so like I'm high risk. I have a very stressful job, so I'm even higher risk. I don't drink or smoke or do drugs, but other people do, and that gets them really close to meeting Jesus when they come into my emergency department. Risk factors for heart attack is all the stuff I just said. The older you get, the closer you get to meeting, our Lord and Savior. So let's avoid that. I tell the med students all the time, we do two things on shift. One, we don't do knucklehead stuff. We don't want people to meet Jesus on our watch. And two, we make sure we eat. Those are my only two rules on shift. And I'm hungry all the time. It's a true story. All the time. These are all the things. Just be mindful if you fall into any of these categories when we're going through. Early signs of a heart attack. If you feel weak, fatigued, nauseous, you go to walk the dog and you're like, every time I walk the dog, I got a burp. I got this like burning thing. I go to the job, I go to the gym, I'm mowing the grass, and I feel really winded. I'm not feeling right. My legs are getting kind of swollen. I feel like my heart is racing quicker than it normally does. It's probably either COVID or you have cardiovascular disease. So both of those things, come see me. I'll take care of you in the emergency department. These are the early warning signs. Just be mindful of this, and also your colleagues, your friends, your family, your neighbors, people at church with you that you see all the time. If you notice that they're starting to get more fatigued and tired taking the stairs, just reach out to them. Say, hey, man, when was the last time you saw your doc? I'm trying to stay in my lane. I'm not telling another man how to mow his yard, but maybe you should see your physician. Anybody here ever done CPR? Like on a real human? Not on a piece of plastic? Okay, it's not fun. Aside from our PD guys, because you guys do this all the time, right? So, and also do the shooter drill. It's a new era, 2023 going forward. Make sure you do the live shooter drill. I've done them. I trained with ART and SWAT guys in Jersey and bomb and all that kind of stuff. It's a mind change. You got to be able to get your mind right before you get into that situation. So make sure you do that thing on the 23rd. These guys take care of us. We take care of them. Our brothers in blue are important. Doing CPR is like a thing, right? It has a rhythm to it. You can't break the rhythm. You got to keep the pace. You got to push, and you're going to get tired. Right, putting your hands, interlocking your hands and putting on another human being's chest and pushing their sternum down to squeeze their heart against the back wall of the thoracic cavity to get blood to flow forward is physically exhausting. It's emotionally demanding. It could be your wife or your husband you have to do this to. So you got to prepare. You got to get your mind right before you have to be put in this situation. You call 911, you put them on speakerphone, you interlock your fingers, lock your arms, get your center of gravity over top of their body, and you start pushing on their chest. If they don't have a pulse and they're not responding. And you talk to the dispatcher while you're doing this, and they will talk you through what you have to do. And I encourage you to push on this mannequin. I pushed on it when I came through. That chest wall feels like about a 55-year-old, relatively fit male, right? Not your failed 90-year-old grandmother who has a very thin chest and they're easy to push on. That one actually has resistance. So you gotta practice like you play, right? You don't want to go into war with an untested weapon. You gotta know what it feels like to push on another human being's chest. It's important because if you get into that situation, you're gonna be there for a minute. It's going to take EMS a couple minutes to get to your house. You're going to be doing that for a minute. You don't want to make two patients out of one patient because you're trying to save your family member's life. So it's important to know what it feels like. So I encourage you guys to push on that mannequin. EMS does a great job of identifying sick before they come to me. This is a pre-hospital EKG that they transmit. This passes the grandma test, right? So you know the grandma test. You guys know what the grandma test is? If your grandmother can walk into a situation and be like, Danny, something about that is wrong. I don't think this is right. This passes the grandma test. That's an abnormal EKG. This person had a very bad day. I'm sure we saved them, but this is not a normal EKG at all. This is what Dr. Ari and his group do. This is a before and after cardiac stent. That's the LAD coming off the branch of the aorta, completely occluded. They call this the widowmaker because it makes people widows because their husbands die. And then this is how they save their life, and now they go home and they go back to being normal and take care of their kids and go to church and become, members of our community again. I left this slide in here to remind us about me telling you guys a story. So let me tell you guys a story. 63-year-old male. He gets back Thursday night after being out of town on an international vacation for a week and a half. And he does what every guy in this place is going to do when he wakes up Friday morning. He's going to look at his front yard and be like, man, I got to mow the grass, right? Because you've missed it for a week and a half. He makes one pass through the front yard, gets in his car, doesn't feel right, and he breaks the first rule because he drives. And he drives past the hospital, he goes to a minor med, walks in the door, collapses. Witness CPR, right? So there's a doc on scene who's not normally at the minor med, and 2 nurses who just did their ACLS training the week before as a refresher. They start CPR on him, they're calling the ambulance gets there. He's got an abnormal EKG, he's unresponsive. They shock the guy 15 times, right? They shock him 15, that's a lot. For you guys that don't know that, that's a lot. I don't shock people 15 times. That's a lot of shocks, pre-hospital especially. They get a pulse back on him, he's unresponsive, and he goes to Baptist. And Baptist identifies the fact that he's got a heart attack. He's got LAD occlusion. They take him right to the cath lab. They stent him, and then they do this thing where they cool him, right? We call it code ice. They cool him for 3 days. They drop his body temperature for 3 days, 72 hours, to protect his brain, protect his heart, allow the heart to improve, and allow his neurologic recovery to be appropriate. They warm him up, they wake him up, day 5, completely back to normal. If you met this guy, you'd be like, there's no way that this happened to this dude if I met him. There's no way I would believe this guy had a full-blown LAD occlusion, widow-making heart attack. This guy's my dad. And he's the reason that I'm an ER guy. He's the reason I work at Baptist. He's the reason I came home to work at Baptist. I believe at Baptist. I believe in what we do. We save lives every day. So if you have a concern and you're worried about your health, you come see me in the department. I'll take care of you. My staff will take care of you. Our cardiology group will take care of you. We do this all the time. We're proud to do this. And I'm proud to be up here and talking with you guys today. Thank you so much.
Dan, that was great. That was great. And it's true. Dan has a lot of passion for what he does, and we are there to help you. So today, what I'm going to, first of all, I'm from Brooklyn, not from the Bronx, and I know to the Southerners it's the same foreign country, but it's Brooklyn. Brian. I'm going to talk to you today about a couple of things. Dan, I think he drove home the point that you really want to go to the emergency room if you have any symptoms. What I'm going to talk about today are things that you could do, and not to depress you today, but things that you can do to maybe change the course of your life. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about what Baptist DeSoto has to offer. You heard about us being named the #1 cardiovascular program in Mississippi. And that didn't happen overnight. You know, there was a lot that went into that. We spent years on this journey to get to this place. And there's constantly a lot of action and a lot of movement happening in the Baptist system and here at Baptist DeSoto to help the community, Southaven, Mississippi, and everyone receive the very best, not just cardiac care, but all-around care in the region. And our goal is for you all to be a place that's recognized to have one of the best medical institutes in the country, and that's what we're working towards. Takes a while to get there, but we started our journey probably 8 to 10 years ago, and I'm just going to share a little bit about this with you. So let me see. Is that the way it goes? There we go. I'm from Brooklyn, as I mentioned. My parents are from Poland. The reason I got into this whole thing to begin with is my father had a massive heart attack at age 47. I was just applying to medical school when it happened, and without a doubt, that was the driving force that pushed me into this career that I'm in. And not only was it a driving force to push me in the road to go into this career, but really built this passion and need that I have to prevent this for other people, because it was a pretty traumatic event, and still to this day is a very traumatic event for the people in my life. Many of us don't realize sometimes how much we mean to the people around us, but it changes everything. And taking care of yourself, and not just your heart, but every other aspect, your mental health, physical health, is critically important. And we sit around, we don't think about it that much, and it's something that we should make part of our lives. And I ended up going to Columbia, where I did my fellowship in cardiology, and I met my very first attending there was an incredible mentor. Her name was Evelyn Horn. She's one of the premier pulmonary hypertension experts in the country. Now she's at Cornell, where I went to medical school. One of my projects that I got involved in when I joined Baptist and became the medical director is I wanted to connect our facility with a world-renowned cardiovascular institute. And that goal was to bring Columbia and Cornell and connect them with Baptist. And we happened to have started doing that about 2 years ago. So now we have weekly conferences where we review complicated cases, go over mortalities, deaths, to figure out why so that they never happen again. And we have these meetings with people at Columbia virtually. So we have a connection now with an institute. We discuss cases, they review things, how we're doing, and make sure that we are continuously improving the processes that we have so that we can deliver optimal care. And one of the great things is that just last week I had a really complicated case, very mysterious case, and I sent the patient's data up to New York, and the attending that reviewed the case for me happened to be Evelyn Horn, who was my mentor that started all of this about 25 years ago. So really nice to have this collaboration. So here's what's going on in Mississippi. You could see that for men between the ages of 30 and 74, that your risk of developing cardiac disease in the next 10 years is higher than that in most other areas in the country. This is what the map looks like for mortalities in the country. And again, you can see that the South has the highest incidence and prevalence of cardiovascular disease. The other very interesting coincidence is that we also have the highest incidence of cancer in the country here in the South. And there's a correlation. The correlation is that many of the risk factors that lead to heart disease also happen to lead to cancer. And these are the two #1 killers. 1 out of 3 of us will have heart disease, and about a half of us will have, one out of 4 of us will have some form of cancer in our lives. So first let's talk about what we can do. I'm having trouble with this clicker. There we go. There are basically 7 steps that you can take to improve your heart health. Getting active, cutting out smoking, getting your cholesterol down, never getting diabetes, getting your diabetes under immaculate control, knowing your blood pressure, getting it under control, and knowing your cholesterol. I mean, we talk about this stuff all the time. If you looked at remember that map we just saw about the risk of you developing heart disease in the next 10 years, even if you have genetic predisposition because somebody in your family had heart disease, and I'll tell you in a minute what genetic predisposition actually means. If you were to control all of those modifiable risk factors, these are risk factors that you can actually do something about, you can drop your risk by about 80% at best, but at least up to 50%, 20%, all depending on how many of those modifiable risk factors you have. So when I mean modifiable and non-modifiable, I'm talking about non-modifiable being genetics, that you're getting older. Those are 2 things we cannot change, and we don't know what role those play in your lives. We're working towards figuring those things out, and there are some genetic tests out there. But the things that you can modify are the ones that we had mentioned. Smoking, being active, eating better, getting cholesterol under control, never getting diabetes, and keeping your blood pressure under control. So, how much exercise and activity do we need in order to reduce our risk? At least 2.5 hours a week would be the bare minimal. And a bare minimal amount would be moderate walking. Moderately brisk walking is all you've got to do. 30 minutes, 5 days a week. That's the bare minimum. The more that you do, the better it is for your heart and your health. Yeah, I'll just talk through these. So, cholesterol is the next thing. If you don't know, everybody here should have a cholesterol panel checked, at least starting at the age of 40. Earlier if you have a family history. Ideally, you'd like your total cholesterol to be below 200. If you have documented coronary artery disease, or if you have diabetes, you'd like to get your target down even lower. And it's important to know the different parameters on the cholesterol. Your LDL being your bad cholesterol. That's the stuff that sticks onto your arteries. You'd like to get that below 100 if you have no documented coronary artery disease. And if you do, you'd like to get it below 70. And if you've had a cardiovascular event, below 55. Your HDL, which is your good cholesterol, above 45. The only two things that really help get that higher is activity, exercising, and quitting smoking. And those two things don't really do a good job of bringing that number up. That's what protects you. So the way we combat that problem is we get that LDL down as low as we can. The other number is the non-HDL. And that one you'd like to get below 130 if you have no documented disease, but if you have documented disease, below 100. And then your triglycerides below 100. So diet, exercise is really important. I had mentioned before family history. What exactly constitutes family history? And this is important because I have a lot of patients that come to me with a family history. My grandmother was 90 years old and she got coronary disease. Well, that doesn't count. It's a direct relative, your father or brother, 45 years or younger, who had a cardiac event, stroke, heart attack, or your mother, sister, 55 or younger, with a stroke or heart attack. Those are genetically derived problems, all right, as opposed to somebody who's older who develops disease because of their personal habits or exposure to things that would increase their risk. So that's important to know. And if you have anybody in your family with that kind of risk, you've got to be extra careful and attentive to your modifiable risks. What about blood pressure? What's important with your blood pressure? Ideally, you'd like to keep your blood pressure less than 120 over 80 millimeters of mercury. That should be for everyone. And that's even if you get older. Lots of times people say, well, I'm older, it's supposed to follow my age. That's not true. In fact, the older you are, the more important it is that your blood pressure is under control. For every 10 millimeters of mercury above 120, your stroke risk doubles. So if you're at 130, you're 2 times the risk of 120. 140 is 4 times the risk. 150 is 8. 160 is 16, and so on. So people walking around with 160 and thinking that's okay, I don't feel anything. You're going to feel something eventually, and you're not going to like it. So know those numbers. And what about your ideal weight? I mean, this chart's a bit hard to see. There's something called the body mass index. That's the way that we actually measure an individual's accurate scientific weight. And ideally, you'd like your body mass index to be about 25. And that's based on your weight, your height. So there's a chart that you could look at, and that'll give you your ideal weight. Of course, if you're muscular and you exercise a lot, then your body mass index might be a little bit different. But if you don't have any muscle at all, then the body mass index is fairly accurate. And then smoking. Smoking is perhaps the worst thing that we do for ourselves. One thing I always tell, especially women who smoke, is that your risk of dying if you're a woman who smokes is, well, you're taking 15 years off your life if you continue smoking. And so I usually say to them, put two of you together, one of you is smoking, the other one is not smoking. The person not smoking is going to have an additional 15 years of life. 15 years of life is a lot of life. So just think about it that way. And of course, all the other problems that come with it. COPD, coronary problems, blood flow problems in the legs, dementia, and so on. So these are the major risk factors, and then the other one, of course, is your blood sugar. You know, why do I care about my blood sugar? Well, blood sugar, when it's elevated in your body, it attacks the different organs in your body. It can attack your kidneys, it can attack your blood vessels, it can attack your eyes, your brain. When you connect all of these things together, you couple it with high blood pressure, smoking, and so forth. I mean, you guys get the picture. But all of these things are modifiable. I know it's really difficult for us to do that. You know, part of it is the way that we grow up. We're used to eating a particular way. We need to make these changes early in life. Risk is something that needs to be addressed constantly. It's not just a one-time thing or 30 days after New Year's. I mean, it's something you've got to do repeatedly. And I live by that. You know, my father died at 47. Every day, no matter how late I get home from work, 1 hour on the bicycle, make a lunch every day, prepared, dinner prepared, everything is prepared all the time. And honestly, I've gotten used to it. It's really not a big deal. And the lunch today, I had nothing to do with it. The chicken's good, the Brussels sprouts are good, the rest of it, throw away. Sorry. Lettuce is okay too. So, and then, you know, well, what kind of carbs can I eat? Sweet potatoes, quinoa's good, brown rice is good, but in small portions. And if you're thinking about a diet, well, what's a good diet? The fad diets, they're nonsense. I've been doing this, there's a new fad diet every year. It's about exercising regularly, eating decent portions, and the Mediterranean diet. That has never gone away. The Mediterranean people live long, they walk, they eat small portions. There's a lot of olive oil in their diet, walnuts, pecans, pistachios. That's the component of their diet that specifically is very helpful. So if you cook a lot, cook with olive oil. Use a lot of olive oil if that's what you need. So what can you do? You know, talk to your doctor, be proactive, talk to your family, work with your family, make it a family thing. And don't be stressed about it. So let me talk to you a little bit about calcium scores. All right, this is an excellent test. And this isn't for everyone. This test is an inexpensive study in the world of medicine, you know, $99. What it does is it gives us a window into your heart arteries. So it takes an image of your arteries. There's no injection of any dye, just a 20-second test. Literally, you hold your breath for 5 seconds twice. And it takes a picture of your coronary arteries, tells us how much calcium deposition you have in your arteries. The calcium reflects how much plaque is in there. If you are between the ages of 40 and 70, and I would say even 30 and 70 if you have that genetic risk where a relative had a heart attack or stroke in their 40s or 50s and started 30, but otherwise 40 to 70, and you don't know that you have coronary disease. You know, you're not somebody who had a heart attack, somebody had a bypass. Strictly, you either smoke, your cholesterol's off, you don't exercise, you're overweight, you're diabetic, you just don't know, but you've got risk factors, get a calcium score. And get a calcium score because that is going to tell you exactly what's going on inside your body. And it will allow you and your doctor to formulate a preventive plan. Most people who have heart attacks have no idea that they have a problem until a few minutes before that heart attack occurs. And no warning signs a lot of the time. Some people are lucky, they have symptoms that develop over a period of time. That's a stable presentation. You walk and you're noticing that when you walk you have a little discomfort in your chest, or you're getting winded, or maybe you're a jogger and your time's off a little bit. That's a stable presentation. But others have unstable presentations, and that's what Dr. Poor was talking about. You have that indigestion you've never felt before. Pain in the chest, radiating to your arms, to your neck. In women, it could be atypical. You may be extremely fatigued suddenly. You're nauseous. Something's not right. Something's not right. In that instant, call 911. Don't drive, like Dr. Poor said, you go to the emergency room. But knowing that you have calcium deposition in your arteries beforehand helps us implement an intensive preventive plan to help offset those kinds of problems. What we found over the years is that we see less and less serious heart attacks coming to the hospital, except in the situations where people don't go because they don't think that it's a heart attack, okay? That's when we see bad things happen. But because of the advent of statins and real intensive risk factor treatment, we see people come in with heart attacks, but they're the kind of heart attacks that don't completely close the artery and destroy a lot of heart muscle. So knowing that you have plaque and being able to implement a strategy and a risk factor modification allows you to perhaps be one of those people, if that happens to you, and again, remember this happens to 1 out of 3 of us, to not have such a bad one. Gives you time to get to the hospital. So this test is an excellent one. I get one every 5 years. My father died at 47. I started getting them at 35. And I've uncovered disease. And I've implemented a risk factor protocol or prevention plan for myself. And I get this periodically and do everything that I can to not have the same outcome. Okay, so now I'm going to flip a little bit to Baptist. I just want to tell you a little bit about some of the things that we could do. You know, we're here doing a business talk, and yes, the hospital is a business, but the hospital is a business of helping people and helping people survive and live. And like any business, the better you run that model, the better the people will do. And we've taken a pretty serious look at ourselves, like I said, about 8 to 10 years ago. And we decided that we wanted to be the best in the region. Right? That's what we wanted to do. And from that day forth, we started pulling together ourselves, really. You know, pulling together ourselves, people who are like-minded, people who wanted the best, and we formed teams to make these things happen. We got involved in national registries. It's the first thing that we did. National registries are basically scoring cards that score you against everybody else in the country. And only the national best do this. And when we started 8 or 10 years ago, you know, we weren't even on the map in these scoring cards. I mean, we had to look at all of our data and see, well, how many people are dying, how many people are getting the right medicines, how many people are getting out of the hospital with this medicine, how many people are having bleeding complications, kidney complications from the things we do, you name it, it's all in there. And we went from 8 or 10 years ago to being, not really having much, or not even being on the registry, to every hospital in our system that has a cardiac cath lab and that manages people with advanced cardiac problems, the only hospital system in the nation to have everybody be a platinum member. All right, so there's only an elite bunch out there in the nation who are platinum, meaning that they're continuously achieve the highest scores on whatever it is that they're measuring us against. And not only did we do it in DeSoto where we started it, but all the other hospitals on the system started to follow us, and we replicated it in Baptist Jackson, Memphis, NEA, Jonesboro, Oxford, I think Golden Triangle. Is there one other? That's it. And we don't stop there. We continuously review this stuff so that we maintain that platinum level. In addition to that, we are the only heart transplant program in the region, advanced heart failure. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't know that we are capable of not only managing all of your basic cardiac needs, but if you get to the point, or anybody that you know or a family member gets to the point where they are told you have no options, we have options for you. We just hired 2 outstanding transplant surgeons, one from Houston, University of Houston, which is an amazing program, another one from University of Iowa, fantastic surgeons. We have assist device programs. We have this program called extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, ECMO program. It's the only one in the region. When COVID was knocking everybody out, those few young people who were on vents were sent to our center to help them survive. Literally what these machines would do is they would breathe for them while their lungs couldn't breathe for them until they got past all of it. So we also have a structural heart program, the largest one in this region, and the first one that will be accredited in the South. This structural heart program, if you've heard, valves that can now be fixed through a percutaneous approach instead of with open heart surgery. So we are able to do that, and we have a great valve program. As I mentioned to you, we meet with Columbia, we share cases. We have complex cases that we have questions about. We send the films, we have a discussion, we virtually meet. So medicine has evolved. It used to be that you go to your doctor and you'd think, doctor management, send me to a specialist. Specialist makes a decision, a really complex decision about a major heart surgery or something really traumatic in your life. It doesn't work that way anymore in our place. If you come to us and you have a really complex problem, I could assure you that it will be discussed amongst at least 20 individuals in a room where we review every aspect of your case, look at the films, review the echo, make sure it's done right, and then we make a decision that's best for you, knowing what it is that you want and what goals you have in life. Right? Sometimes people don't want to go through all of this. Sometimes doctors push them through it. So all of these things are considered when we make these decisions. And we also have the most up-to-date in technology. These are some of the accolades. We are Chest Pain Center accredited, heart failure accredited, catheterization accredited, AFib registries. We're involved in all these registries. We have a cardio-oncology program. The cancer therapies these days are very, very good at curing cancer. They're also very, very good at harming the heart. And the cardiologists and the oncologists, the Baptist oncology team have gotten together, and we formed a cardio-oncology program where my job is to make sure that I help the oncologist cure your cancer, but that you don't end up 5-10 years later with heart failure. And so we work in tandem. A lot of these drugs, we used to just, the FDA used to clear drugs without knowing what it would do to your heart. Now, every single drug that's tested, we have to know how it affects cancer, the heart, other organs, and if it does affect your heart and you're getting cancer therapy, you'll probably see me and one of my partners who are involved in this. And we just got news that our bypass mortality at DeSoto was 1%. That is in the top in the country. And that's pretty darn good, and we work really hard to make that happen. These are my colleagues at Baptist DeSoto. I just want to show you a few of them. Dr. Dharmesh Patel, many of you probably know, he's been around here for a long time. Dr. Malhotra, both of them are non-invasive cardiologists. Dr. Malhotra used to be an interventional cardiologist, but he injured his knee and he had to give that up. But thankfully in cardiology, he could just shift over to being a non-invasive. Dr. Patel is an expert in cholesterol and lipids. Below, on the bottom there, is Dr. Edwards. He's our advanced heart failure specialist. If you ever need a transplant or go down that road, here's the doc you might see. Dr. Zogby, he is the director of our cardiac catheterization lab, came from UAB. He is very, very passionate about outcomes, constantly working on making sure that our cath lab is perfect. And he actually brought to this area the interventional approach. He used to get cardiac caths through the groin. He's the one who brought to this area the cardiac cath that's an angiogram through the wrist. And when he brought it here, within a couple of years, we made sure everybody got trained in it, and now it's generally what we all do. Below him is Dr. Ganguly. He's a new interventionalist with us. Both he and Dr. Zabi, also on the structural heart program, they replaced those valves through the groin procedure. Dr. Guang is a new interventional cardiologist with us, trained in Arkansas and also from UT. He does peripheral vascular work. Dr. Anhelmo, he's from Cleveland Clinic. He's one of our electrical specialists. If you have a rhythm abnormality, he can fix it. And Dr. Tweez, another doc who does that. Dr. Clemis, he is also an interventional doc, but he's also interested in carotids. He stents carotids so that you don't need surgery. And if you have a hole in your heart, he can close the heart through a percutaneous approach. And then Dr. Sneed, who you all might know, he's a good old boy from Mississippi, grew up in Senatobia, and he's one of our interventional cardiologists too. And this is our team. And we love working together, and we help each other out, and we're all about helping you guys out too. And this is just a final picture illustrating, that's my dad. That's him meeting the Pope, one of his highlights of his life. He actually grew up in the Pope's town in Poland, and then he was a bishop then and became a cardinal, and then when he was the Pope, invited my dad to come see him at the Vatican, which was really neat. And that day, I'll never regret, I was on a trip with my high school buddies, and my dad said, come on, we're going to go meet the Pope. And like an idiot, I decided to hang out with my high school buddies. Never regret that day. I think I was breakdancing or something on my head. And then on the right over there, always have fun with your friends. Cotton Bowl, Tulane beat USC. I think one of the best college Cotton Bowl games ever. And that's just my family being active. Be active with your family, and that's it. It was great talking to you. We really appreciate you having us here. I hope you learned something, and we really appreciate caring for this community and all of you. If you have any questions, otherwise, I gotta get back to the clinic. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that's awesome information. I hope that it's life-changing for all of us, and that you guys are working to take care of yourself. I'm convicted to be able to do that. I know that it's difficult, especially when you're busy, but you have to prioritize. Again, I want to thank all of our sponsors. Thank you guys so much. Our luncheons are growing and growing, and we encourage you all to invite others to come. I know that our ambassadors and our board of directors are kind of tasked with doing that, but as members, I encourage you guys to do that. I don't share things like this very often, but it was brought to my attention by one of our board of directors who is a list person. Dr. Jason Walton is a list person, and he goes, hey, I was looking at the Memphis Business Journal. I had no idea. Did y'all know that you are the second largest chamber in the Mid-South? Memphis Chamber only has 1,118 members, and I was like, only? That's a lot. And he goes, yeah, but we're 764. So we're knocking on their door, and I'm like, wow. I never would have thought that. We love being able to service each member as our only member. There are people that have different needs for different industries, different connections that you have to have. There are so many people that text us. They blow up our phone and say, hey, do we have anybody in the chamber that can help me with a roof? Do we have anybody in the chamber? We love doing that. We love being able to service and help you guys. On the back of your program, if you will look, it's kind of tiny, that's Rachel's fault, but it has all of our events. We have a lot coming up. We have a blood drive coming up, which is super important. Our golf tournament, we have golfing games. If you guys don't know it, not everybody plays golf, but everybody can throw a bag. So we do cornhole as well. That's going to be at Olive Branch Country Club. I was really sad that North Creek closed, but our neighbors are going to take good care of us, and so we encourage you guys to get a team and be involved. I also wanted you to know about things that are going on. If you're under 40, you need to be in our Southaven Young Professionals group. If you own a business, you need to be involved in our Human Resource Association. It's all information that's going to help you run business better, help you professionally develop, and we want to be a part to help you do that. We have a few door prizes, so I was texting with Kelly and I was like, hey, one of those calcium tests would have been a great door prize to give away, and she goes, we can do that. And I said, well, let me go to my Chambermaster app and pick a name, because I'm not going to pick who wins it. And so I was able to do that, and I was super excited about that technology of just going, hey, this person won. Active shooter, this is in your program, so I want you guys to mark your calendars for that. Please bring someone, invite all businesses. We want as many people here as possible because you never know. So we want you to be prepared with your company, with your employees, as to what they're supposed to do. Thank you, law enforcement, Captain York, you guys. Thank y'all for being here today. We appreciate you so much. And each of our exhibit tables, I think, did a door prize. We have a lot of door prizes. So first off, on the back of your program, if you have a sticker, a little star, you've won something. An orange sparkly star is a 10th inning $25 gift card. A red star is one of these beautiful peace lilies provided by Michael Hatcher and Associates. Thank you guys for that. So these guys are the 2 red stars. Baptist has given some umbrellas. There's 2 of those. If you have a green star, you've won an umbrella, but I'm glad, I don't think we need it today. Chick-fil-A Southaven also has coupons for nugget trays. That's a purple star. So if you've won anything, please go to the chamber table and the ladies will take care of you. And then for our exhibit tables, Pure Focus Media is giving away a 30-minute hot stone massage from Kneading Knot. I need to win that. Angela Kidd, you won. Welcome. Southaven Rotary is giving away a $25 gift card to One and Only Barbecue. Jesse Randall, you won that. YJ Crump Tax Firm is giving away, some LED lights. Are those like party lights, Miss Yolanda? Oh, cool. Okay. Janice Vidal, you won that. Allegiance Staffing is giving away a waterproof speaker. Stephanie Dodd, you won that. Yay. Southaven Young Professionals is giving away a Bluetooth speaker. Hey, there's a theme going here. Y'all are going to have a party. Bluetooth speaker goes to Carson Phillips. Sycamore is giving away a $50 Visa gift card. Melody Mitchell, you won that. DeSoto Hope has a great assorted gift basket that they're giving away. And Jocelyn Hervit, I'm sorry if I butchered your last name. You won that. And last but not least, we're giving away a calcium test. And I'm excited about this. So thank you, Baptist, for doing that. Eric Williams, you won that. So you probably aren't as excited about winning that, but you might be one day. So if you were thinking when you saw that, I might need that, guess what? You got it. How about that? Thank you guys for being here. I encourage you to continue to network. The time is 12:56, and we're out of here. Have a great day.